in their first foray, which was in Sharm el-Sheikh in 2009, when they joined with the, I'm sorry about mentioning this name, the Mubarak Foundation, which was the creation of Mrs. Mubarak, and an absolutely stunning group of Egyptian young people working in a joint seminar. And it was absolutely stunning, the difference that made to otherwise an entirely adult population. And I'm sure that they'll continue to do that in the future. I just want to set the scene briefly for where we're going. In a moment or two, I'm going to hand over and we will hear the keynote speech for this afternoon. But in advance of getting to that, I just want to mention where we are in this whole process. I suppose I should start by welcoming people to the first meeting of the UK IGF in preparing for the Nairobi IGF meeting in September. To be more accurate, I hope that we're preparing for the IGF meeting in Nairobi in September, because the decisions made by the United Nations in terms of extending the IGF mandate are a little frayed at the edges. The dates have not been finally confirmed. The decision-making seems to be largely in the hands of the Chinese Deputy Secretary, who, from sitting next to him at one bit of the Sharm el-Sheikh event, is clearly not quite as enthusiastic about some of the principles of the IGF which really get us excited. The multi-stakeholder advisory group has not had its mandate extended, which I think is rather worrying, because the whole benefit of the IGF up to now has been that the agenda has been formulated in a very participative process. However, I think we have to live in hope and also stress the importance of this way of approaching things for international governance, and demonstrate by what we do as a group of individuals representing such a wide range of interests across the industry, across Parliament, across civil society and across government, that the process is worthwhile. And I do believe that the way in recent years that a number of other forums have developed, last year the American Internet Governance Forum, led by industry, it has to be said, in its foundation, came into being. We've seen the benefits in East Africa of a number of countries coming together with the leadership of Nairobi. We've seen the engagement of people in South Asia. We've seen the engagement of the Australians, the New Zealanders and the Canadians. So there's a lot that's moved forward over the 5 years since the World Summit on the Internet, on the Information Society, which, again, to mention a name that is in the news at the moment, took place in Tunis. It was interesting, by the way, reflecting on what Richard was just saying about the importance to the non-governmental sector, to civil society, that actually civil society was not allowed into that summit, and some events were taking place outside, along with the engagement of young people from the UK on a video link with young people from 7 Arab and North African countries meeting in the British Council's premises in Tunis. So there's a certain sense of déjà vu for me at the moment in looking at this situation and seeing the fragility of a democratic, participative and tolerant structure, and the machinery of the United Nations perhaps not valuing something that I believe has been extremely valuable. Having said that, we need to pick up on this and make sure that we play our part in demonstrating the issues that we bring forward, as we will do in the working groups shortly, that we are addressing real issues and big issues. I think many of us agreed in the first phase of the IGF process that we needed to demonstrate at a national level the value of this as an approach at international value, that remains the case, and perhaps in some ways the slight hiatus on some of the detail of all of this, whereas it's pretty difficult to plan to go to an event that hasn't had its date set yet, and I'm sure that's causing great problems for the Kenyans as well. It is important for us to prepare effectively and across the 4 sectors that make up the UK IGF to demonstrate how important we believe that it is, and to make sure that our messages are very clear. So today's meeting is planned to identify issues that we wish to raise in the 2011 event, hopefully in September in Nairobi. And it's for that reason that we've identified 3 very broad issues as of interest for the workshops. They're ones that can then be developed in a virtual contact and possibly other workshops during the coming months. Each of the 3 is being chaired by a Member of Parliament. All 3 of them attended the IGF last year. Indeed, it was very encouraging that we had 3 new Members of Parliament. I've commented on a number of occasions that the last 2 parliamentary intakes in 2001 and 2005 didn't seem to add to the number of people getting involved in internet and governance issues. There were 1 or 2, but not to a significant degree, whereas the intake in 2010 on both sides of the House has brought significant membership in. And for instance, last night we had a meeting of the PITCOM CEOs Forum, and we had equal numbers of parliamentarians and chief executives sitting across the table talking, in this case, about the big issue of skills and how we encourage skills in the UK in a very practical way. The 3 issues are cloud computing, chaired by John Robertson MP, and that'll be in the Dinsdale Young Room. I think that's the Dinsdale Young Room rather than the Dinsdale Young Room. Access issues, chaired by Stephen Mosley in the Maurice Barnett Room, and the future of content, chaired by Mike Weatherly in the Robert Perch Room, and I'm grateful to all 3 of them for their participation today. Now, we're very fortunate that Martha Lane Fox, the UK's digital inclusion champion, has agreed to talk to us this afternoon. Martha's been spearheading the work to address the UK's digital divide, and it's a key theme for the IGF. I believe it's quite important, particularly at the time when there's a very big challenge for government departments and government agencies to do more with less, and therefore to make use of IT, to make sure that we don't, at that point, lose half the population which doesn't have access, so that efficiency takes place, the savings are made, but we have a number of people, significant number of people, a significant number of people who are economically disadvantaged, who are left out. And that makes it important perhaps to ensure the government builds in a consideration of that challenge at the design stage. Traditionally it doesn't, it's sort of added on afterwards if there are problems. It seems to me that the issues of how to help keep people safe online, how to help people to protect their data and their identity, and how to present the content they need in an accessible and relevant way, and how to feel safe and confident in doing so, issues that would be relevant to all 3 of the workshops that will take place later this afternoon.